Hi, boys and girls. Today we are going to be learning about Lesson 4 in Social Studies, Good Citizens. Being a good citizen. In the last lesson, you read about how Jill is a good citizen. She helped get a new law passed in her community. The new law will keep people safe. People in her community must obey the new law. Obeying laws is one way to be a good citizen. Good citizens can help people in many other ways. We can help others at home, at school, or in our communities. You will learn more about helping others in this lesson. Go ahead and underline that obeying laws is one way to be a good citizen. And then also, helping others at home, at school, and in our communities are other ways that we can be good citizens. Now let's take a look at the picture below. And let's think about what is probably going on. I see that there's some crayons dropped on the ground, and this character looks pretty upset about what happened. Now let's take a look at this character. It says, fill in the speech bubble with what a good citizen might say. So what is something that she could probably say to her peer or classmate that might be helpful or kind to her? Civility means showing respect and kindness. Underline the definition of civility. How does your conduct, so how does your behavior show civility? My conduct shows civility by, so it's one thing it shows when you are behaving. All right, let's take a look at our next page, responsibility. When citizens follow rules and laws, they are showing responsibility. You are responsible when you follow rules at home or in school. Some rules and laws are made to keep us and others safe. It is everyone's responsibility to follow laws in their communities. Underline that when citizens follow rules and laws, they are showing responsibility. Let's take a look here at Andrew. Andrew listens carefully when his teacher asks a question. He raises his hand when he knows the answer. Andrew is showing responsibility by following classroom rules. Let's take a look at Jenna. Jenna walks her dog in the dog park. She keeps her dog on a leash. Jenna is showing responsibility by following park rules. Underline how Andrew and Jenna are both showing responsibility. Now let's take a look at this sign here. It says no skateboarding on sidewalk, and we see a picture of a skateboard crossed out. Look at the sign. Explain how the law keeps people in the community safe. Remember to restate the question. This law keeps people in the community safe by, what's one reason why it's important that we have this type of law? Let's take a look at the next page, making a difference. You can make a difference at home, at school, or in your community. As you learned, showing responsibility is one way to be a good citizen. Voting for our leaders is a way to be a good citizen too. Voting is a way for people to be involved and to make a difference. If you are a citizen, you will be able to vote one day. Remember, the people you vote for will make the laws that affect you. Another way people can be involved and make a difference is to volunteer. A volunteer is a person who chooses to do a job without getting paid. People can volunteer to do many different things. Volunteers clean up neighborhoods and parks. Some volunteers collect canned food for local food banks. A food bank is a place that helps people who don't have enough food to eat. Okay, so go ahead and take a minute or two to make a list of ways that you can volunteer. You can use this picture above to help you. These citizens are helping their community, so it looks like they're working together to pick up trash. Okay, Maya wanted to volunteer to make a difference in her community. Read below to find out how Maya organized a book drive to collect books for a local hospital. I'm noticing transition words right away. First, next, and finally. First, I asked the principal if I could organize a book drive at school. Together, we decided our slogan for the book drive would be, "A good book is good medicine." Next, my friends and I made posters and decorated boxes. We wanted people to know we were collecting books for Children's Hospital. Finally, I sorted the books and took them to Children's Hospital. I made a big sign to say thank you to everyone who donated books to my book drive. All right, let's take a look at our last one. Draw a picture that shows Maya giving books to children at the hospital. Write how Maya feels about being a volunteer. And remember, a volunteer is a person who chooses to do a job without getting paid. Remember to restate the question. Being a volunteer makes me feel, if you were Maya, how would you feel once you dropped off the donated books? Working together. Think about Maya's book drive. Maya and her principal shared their ideas to create a slogan for the book drive. To make posters and decorate boxes, Maya and her friends had to share glue and markers. Sharing ideas and supplies are examples of cooperation. Cooperation means working together to meet goals. Take a look at the photograph above. It says we cooperate by taking turns. So it looks like they're playing a game outside and they're waiting their turn. Now you go ahead and come up with 4 different examples of how people cooperate, whether it's at school or even at home. In this lesson, you learned about civic virtues. Civic virtues are people's actions that show civility, responsibility, and cooperation. As you have learned, being a volunteer is a civic virtue too. There are groups in Florida that work with volunteers. Habitat for Humanity Orlando is a volunteer organization that builds houses. Families who do not have the money to build their own house help the volunteers. The family and the volunteers cooperate to build the new house together. Here's a photograph of volunteers working together for Habitat for Humanity. What civic virtues do you have? So what are some actions that you do that show civility, responsibility, and cooperation? All right. As we end our lesson 4, take a look at our essential question. How do people affect communities? Remember, today we learned about civic virtues, and we learned that people's actions show civility, respect and kindness, responsibility, and even working together. I want you to go and answer the question in 2 to 3 complete sentences. First, by restating the question, people affect communities by, and list 2 to 3 ways that people affect their communities for a positive result.